All right, everybody, if you're still there, we're back. I've got Dustin Lunow going to do a presentation. It's called Reality Check. I want him to explain it, and here we go.
Absolutely. Hope everybody's doing well today. I hope everybody's got their chair in the upright seated position. Please no reclining. We don't want you sleeping. So, no, I'm just kidding. It's been a great refresher. I want to say thank you to Austin Wolf for his presentation earlier. That was a very short notice. We had a cancellation, and he was able to come in after building that class last night late at my request. So I thought it was really, really good, and I think we need to do more of that. I think the more that we can work as agencies together and cross-train, the better we can serve our citizenry, as a whole. And I know that's our goal in this room here as we're sitting here, 3 different entities working together. But also as we get, police involved, we get fire involved, we want to know how can we work better to work better together to serve our citizenry, and that's our ultimate goal. So I have a class here that I gave, I think it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that.
You're next.
I don't know. It's blurring. I don't know.
It's early 2019.
Yes, it was somewhere in 2019 is what I'm being told now. So, yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into it, and it's something that we talk about with our guys in Academy, and I think it's more applicable to the EMS field than it is to fire, just surely from absolute and total call volume, just to be completely honest. I guess just real quickly about myself, I am the EMS training chief at Joplin Fire. I'm a paramedic. I got my paramedic. I hate to say, I don't know how long ago it's been, 99. So I was a Curtech trained paramedic. Don't hold that against me, please. And was able to work at Carthage Fire for several years, and then went down to the Tulsa metro area, and I worked for Broken Arrow Fire. Broken Arrow is actually it's the largest fire-based EMS system in the state of Oklahoma. So we ran frontline emergency ambulances, which it was nice. It was a great atmosphere to get the best of both worlds, in that you can get off the ambulance and you do not have to do routine transfers. I know, imagine that world. It's great. However, I had the opportunity to come home a couple of years ago, and I jumped on it, and I had the privilege to be here, a part of this, the privilege to be a part of Joplin Fire, and that's kind of who I am, a little bit of my background. So, as we get started, I have this screen right here. This is the reality check. I know every one of us entered the service, to help others, to do different things. We all had our goals and our objectives as we went forward. But one of the things that we really didn't think about was the toll the job would take on ourselves. So, we see a lot of different things as our days go by in our career. A lot of things. And this is a great slide right here. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes the reason is that you're stupid and you make bad decisions. We can't reverse everybody's bad decisions. It's just not possible. When I was considering going into the fire service, I went down to Oklahoma City, and I had a uncle who was a major down there for Oklahoma City Fire, and I rode with them, and I thought, I fell in love. I immediately came back to Missouri Southern and got into Fire 1 and 2 program in EMT. That'd be back in 97. But he told me, he said, there's something you need to know. There's 2 rules in life. Rule 1 is bad things happen to good people. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I see that. And he said, then rule 2. Rule 2 is that you cannot change rule 1. And you need to learn to accept that right now. That's a little harder for us to swallow, because we're the group, we're the entity that people call us when everything goes bad, when something is uncontrollable, and we come in their eyes, and especially in the sitcom world and Hollywood's eyes, we come in and fix everything. Everything is fine when they show up. They handle whatever. That's not always the case. Actually, it's very rarely the case. We use our expertise and our knowledge, and we work around and work through problems, but there's still problems when we get there. So, no matter what field you're in, I know this is more geared to paramedic refresher, no matter what field you're in, you're going to see a lot of different things. And they hang with you over the years, unfortunately. So, my question is why did you enter EMS? Why did you enter into emergency services? Over the years, we've had all kinds of different shows. We have Emergency. Anybody remember Emergency from 72 to 76? Obviously, that would be in reruns, except for people like Prosser. He's not in the room, but that's okay. So emergency. I don't know. I never watched emergency. It wasn't my thing. This was before I was born. Rescue 911, however, that was my thing right there. Anybody remember Rescue 911? Yeah, 89 through 96. Why did you become a paramedic? Why did you get into the service? Why did you get into EMS? A lot of it, for me personally, is one. I saw these shows growing up, and I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be out. I like the idea of coming to work and not being stuck behind a desk. And then I got the bright idea to promote to training chief. I'm just kidding. I love my job. No, you didn't want to be behind a desk. You wanted to be out, and you wanted to be serving the public. You wanted to be out and do different things. And that's who I was, and that's what I wanted to do. And, that was part of that. And growing up, you watched these shows. Rescue 911, that ran for a long time. It was a #1 show. There's millions of people that viewed this, especially growing up. And this was our reality. This was our reality of, what emergency services was. This was our taste of it, right? And then for the newer paramedics and EMTs out there, it may have been Paw Patrol. Not to mention any names. Yeah, it's canceled now, because I'm not sure why. Well, I know why. But anyway, if you're the Dustin Burns of the world, I'm just kidding. I love you, buddy. You may have seen Paw Patrol. But yeah. Different ages, different things. We all saw different things growing up that led us to believe, and led us down different career paths and led us to make decisions. And these were influencers in that. And I've seen my fair share of Paw Patrol. I have kids. So, what exactly was the save rate for these shows? As you're looking at Emergency, you're looking at Rescue 911, as you're looking at Paw Patrol, what was the save rate? How many people did you see, in some horrific accident or something that went bad on Emergency? Was it 50, 60% save rate? I don't know. It probably wouldn't have made for good TV. What about Rescue 911? It probably wouldn't have been in the 7 o'clock hour, prime time, if it showed it all the things that we see and the survivability rates that we witness on the street. But this was where a lot of us got our ideas of what was going to happen. We were going to show up, we're going to make a difference, we're going to heal everybody, right? Paramedic, I'm going to walk in the room, the shadow of my cape will come across the patient, and they'll be miraculously healed. It's kind of a going joke at the fire department. So, Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol, I have yet to see an episode where they lose a puppy. I'm going to be really honest. If it would, it may have scarred my children. So, but yeah, what was the save rate? So we get into a service, we start our job, we start treating people, we start seeing people, we start getting out in the field and really getting our hands dirty. Not really, because we wash our hands all the time. If you haven't seen the light reading, was it 58 pages? Scotty?
50, yes.
Yeah, 58 pages of how to properly wash your hands. That's going to be in homework later. For your homework assignment. But yeah, what exactly was going on there? What is our reality? Well, this is more our reality right here. So this is from the American Association for Surgery of Trauma. The United States accounts for just over 3 million trauma-related injuries annually. We're not talking about medical calls, which are the vast majority of what we respond to anyway. Trauma calls, just the good old-fashioned trauma calls. 150,000 of those trauma calls relate in fatalities. Obviously, not all of those happen directly in front of us. Some of those patients, I'd say a vast majority of those patients, we're doing everything we can, providing life-saving measures and treatments to get them to a trauma hospital, and their bodies just experience more insult and injury than it can possibly survive. How about cardiac arrest? I know I talked a little bit about this while we were in class last Wednesday, but what is the cardiac arrest save rate? Well, if you actually take that out towards the number of cardiac arrests we have, here's the numbers through 2016, it's 350,000 persons have died experienced a cardiac arrest, and just over 300,000 resulted in fatalities in 2016. That's not the world's greatest save rate. Odds are, by a long shot, that if you're running on a cardiac arrest, it's not going to be a favorable outcome. Time is tissue. The further you have to go, the longer the response, especially in our world here. We could be responding to rural anywhere, covering all the way down to almost the Matt County line, or even running out to Carthage to cover a different service, or all the way north to Alba or whatever. There is a huge coverage area and a huge response time that really kind of puts us behind the eight ball. But the results is right here. It's what's on this chart, right? So I had a couple points to make, and I'm a guy. I like quotes. If you see me on Facebook, I used to have a lot of quotes. I've backed off a little bit, but yeah, I like quotes of famous people through history. One of them is Winston Churchill. He's one of my favorites. He was pretty straightforward. One of my favorite quotes was he was talking to a lady that was kind of annoying him, and he was known for drinking, and the lady was on him for being drunk, and he said, "Ma'am, in the morning I will be sober, but you shall still be ugly." And I thought, that's some funny stuff right there. Obviously, that probably wouldn't get around very good with today's social media, but I thought it was funny. So if you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit it once, then come back and hit it again. Then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. Don't dance around the point. Let's hit it straight on. So what is the point I'm trying to get to here? We were lied to. We went into a service. We weren't told. I wasn't told in paramedic school or EMT school that, hey, listen, the vast majority of your cardiac arrests are going to be fatalities. You're going to see a tremendous number of trauma-related fatalities, injuries, things that you won't be able to unsee. I didn't see that chapter in Jones and Bartlett or Pearson View or whatever, Brady, whatever curriculum you saw. That wasn't a part of my curriculum, and if it was a brief overview of, hey, this is a problem. I'm not sure that everybody would have taken the career path knowing exactly what we would experience. I'm glad that you have. I'm glad that you're here with us today, because you are making a huge difference with our citizenry. You are saving lives. It may not be the life of the patient that you save as you think about it. The life that you touch may not be the one that's expired on the floor. It may be the family member that you had the kind word or were able to get a hold of somebody for them to come talk to. Just remember, your area and sphere of influence is much, much larger than what you realize it is. Everybody we come in contact with on each and every day is a opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. And that's what we're really about. That is that patient-centered service. That is the customer service that we preach in our agency at Joplin Fire. And I think every agency around here does a very good job of that. We have people that really, truly care. So, what's the result of all the stuff that we're going through? What's the result of the stress? And what's the result of the fatigue? Well, the average career span, and I went off current numbers, but then I was actually talking to one of the ladies, and I apologize, I'm going to miss the name, but that was in the live class on Wednesday, and she'd worked for IMSA down in Tulsa. And I know IMSA very well. If working down in that area for 16 years, we ran all the time covering IMSA's calls, because they like to understaff and then rely on other agencies. So what they do is they burn their people up. If you want to go get experience, I went down there and did my third rides when I was at Missouri Southern. All my clinical ride time, I drove to Tulsa to do my clinical ride time. Nothing against area agencies here, but holy cow, they run. At the time, you had to meet quotas of specific numbers of patients. I had no problem meeting those quotas down there. I would not want to work there for anything, just to be completely honest. But their guys, their people down there are completely and totally burnt up. Their nationwide average is 5 to 7 years for paramedics, as far as start to finish, burnout, done, we're walking away. In the IMSA area, it's closer to 3 to 5. And that's them running through, doing their job, and either transitioning or just completely walking away from emergency services. And that's not okay. That's using people as basically cannon fodder, right? We have to look at things differently. We've talked about, as an industry and different people, we talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And this is one of those things, different people look at it and view it differently. I can tell you one, when I started 20 years ago in Fire and EMS, This was one of those, my gosh, son, you knew what you were getting into. If you can't handle the job, get out of it. That there's nothing that could be more further from the truth. The truth is, as one, as a provider, and two, as an administrator, that we have to absolutely look out for our personnel. We have to be able to do whatever it takes to ensure the success of our personnel, because their success is the success of the organization. The success of the organization is the success rate of the citizenry, right? That completely and totally boils down. But PTSD, it is a condition that's triggered by a terrifying event. And that's what it was completely and totally, tied to. So specific X event led to Y outcome. It was the specific mass shooting. It was the specific IED that went off in the military. It was a specific event. 9/11 is a great example, but it was a specific event that led to some type of syndrome that people experienced flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, uncontrollable thoughts about the event, restlessness, sleeplessness, all of it. It's a very all-encompassing. It is a true disease. There is nothing different in our world. We see traumatic events, we see medical events, and we understand the pathophys of what happens when cardiac tissue starts to die. We understand that we're trying to save, tissue. We're trying to stop the cascade down to irreversible shock and ultimately death. What we don't talk about very often is the fact that a injury to your brain is no different, a mental injury, not a physical injury to the brain. An insult to your mental state is no different than a traumatic event or a physical event to that same organ. The brain is an amazing, amazing thing. However, it doesn't know the difference between a perceived threat and an actual threat. So just because the guy, let's say, somebody pulls a gun out, that's an actual threat. However, your body will do the exact same thing if you just believe that there's a gun present or there is that threat present, because your body doesn't know it. It reacts the same exact way. We all know this. We all see this. We can talk people that are very anxious and nervous in the ambulance or the back of the truck or whatever. We can talk to them. We can watch their vitals. We can watch all the cascading events of them calming down. That's the direct physical effect of controlling emotion. What happens to a brain that's been injured to a point where it can't control that emotion? This is what happens. So symptoms can include recurrent unwanted distressing memories of a traumatic event, flashbacks, dreams, nightmares, severe emotional distress of physical reactions to something that reminds you of the traumatic event. The list is extremely long of how it plays out because everybody's different. But it is a true process. However, what we found recently in science is that PTSD is not necessarily a single event. I use it and I teach our new hires in academy. I talk to them about the inbox. And I relate that to if you have a inbox on your desk and all you do is file things in it and you keep receiving inbound mail and you never deal with what's there, eventually it will get full. And then it will no longer take anything and it will actually break. That is prolonged duress stress syndrome. This is really what's mainly affecting emergency services. We're talking fire, EMS, LEO, you name it. This is what's affecting us. This is the result of continuous exposure to stressful situations. The symptoms are just the same as PTSD, but it's not a singular event. You can't point to it and say it was X event. No, it was XYZ event. It was the factorial event over your entire career, and you're just done. And I get it. And this is a real thing. And my concern is, and I want to be able to open a conversation and talk about this, because there's been negative connotations to listen. What do you do when something like this happens? I can tell you that I work for my direct supervisor, the fire chief. He is an individual that absolutely and totally and is fully committed to success of his men. And I'm not just trying to say that because he's listening right now. Hi, boss. I'm trying to say that is because that is whatever it takes for the success of the individual is where the line is crossed to we will actually get involved in your personal life with your permission and help you. We are there for your success. If your family's not succeeding, you're probably not going to succeed at work. If your finances aren't succeeding, you're probably not going to succeed at work. If you're carrying a lot of stuff, you're not going to be successful on an emergency scene. An emergency scene takes 100% clarity and dedication to mitigate. And we look at some things a little bit differently. We're looking at the success of the individual. What can we do to help you become successful? Because, success is different for everybody. A successful career for one individual may be, listen, I didn't promote. I didn't want to. I wanted to be in this position. I wanted to be doing the best I could in this position, and I'm happy here. That individual's successful. There's not an outside moniker and an outside list of events or schedule of checklists that have to be made for somebody to equal success. Success is, in reality, is internal happiness. So chew on that for a minute. Deep thoughts right there. I'm just kidding. So as we move forward, what we found, and I found the study. If you're not familiar with the study, this is an amazing study. It is 5 years old, but the study started as they believed they were going to get just a few thousand respondents, and they were blown away by the number of respondents they got. And there's been some follow-ups with this. I don't know the extent of the follow-ups, but they sent out the survey, and what they wanted to know is with EMS providers, how many times or how many people would indicate during the survey that they had contemplated suicide or even attempted it. And I know I'm kind of walking on eggshells right now, and we shouldn't be, because we're here for your success. That's the purpose. The national average is 3.7% of the population has contemplated it. Why is our industry 10 times the national average? Well, it kind of goes back to the prolonged duress stress syndrome, right? All the stuff that has been piled on us for all the years, we were not born with an innate set of tools to handle what we see. Some people, different personalities, handle it better than others. Obviously, everybody has their own specialties that they handle better. However, obviously, at 37%, 10 times the national average, something's not okay. Something's not right. Suicide attempts, 6.6%. You're like, well, that's not much. Compared to 0.5%, that is a drastic difference in percentages over the populace. So this is not okay. This is not right. This is a topic that we have to discuss, and we have to discuss in the light. It can't be behind the closed door. It can't be in quiet. This needs to be discussed in the open. People need to understand that this is an issue. This is an issue we all face, and we need to be able to talk about it openly. Now, if we do need help, I understand. There's a time that you pull back and you go to those individuals that you know that you can talk to, and they will do what they can. They'll do everything in their power to help you. So, again, this is not acceptable. So what's the answer? How do we correct this right here? Well, obviously, I'm not going to be able to cover it in the next 14 minutes, but I'm going to hit some highlights, and I want to put some things out there for some other people to look at, because not always is it the individual that realizes, hey, listen, I have a problem. It can be. It absolutely can be. Typically, it's the coworker. And unfortunately, dealing with some of these things, we've all dealt with something at some point in time in our career. And typically what would happen is, I had an individual come to me and say, listen, well, what's going on? You're not okay. I'm concerned about you. And it doesn't just, oh, you know what? You're right. I see this now. Thank you. I am on the straight and narrow path. Again, thank you. That's not how this works. It's like any other disease process. There is a process, there is paths that you have to walk to work through some of the things that we see and some of the things that we deal with. I know the horrible term in the world is counseling. And I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely have been to a counselor. I've been with my wife. Not that we've ever had problems. But the truth is that if I want to know how to better deal with things in my life, I need to go find an expert in that subject. If I need to know what something is going on with my car, I'm going to find an expert in that subject on that car, and I'm going to figure it out, and personally, I'm going to fix it myself. I love doing stuff like that. there's no difference with same thing we do in medicine. We think we know what's going on with a person, but we don't treat them in the field and say, listen, this is it. This will correct it. You're good. No, we take them, we load them, we take them to the ER, where the next level of care, the in-care, or they will take care of it. They'll send them to experts, and they will get that person taken care of. The same thing goes for counseling services. I was able to get hooked up with an individual, and she was awesome. And just not that I didn't lack that. Well, I truly lacked certain coping skills that I just didn't have. I didn't possess. I did the old-fashioned. I'm just not going to think about it. I'm going to put it behind the wall. That's emergency services. It's not my life. It worked great. It worked great for about 18 years until the point that that wall starts to crack, or that wall, God forbid, that wall comes down. And if you've ever been on the other side of that, it's not like it's not like something that just, oh, it's kind of bothers me. It's more like a jail cell that slams closed, or a mousetrap. It's immediate and it's instant, and you're not sure what to do. My goal is to start this discussion and for everybody to understand that asking for help is one of the absolute toughest and bravest things that any individual can do, especially in emergency services. We don't ask for help. We are the help. I'm the paramedic. By gosh, get off my scene. I got this, right? I'm the firefighter. I can handle this. I'm the law enforcement officer. I've got this. Leave me alone. We don't do very well asking for help. And this is not one of those instances. This is where not asking for help. This is what happens when we don't ask for help right here. 10 times the national average. All right, so answers. We need to work on developing healthy coping mechanisms. This is not drinking off duty, smoking, going out, whatever. That is not a healthy coping mechanism. What does a healthy coping mechanism look like? It looks like exercise. A vast majority of persons in emergency services are not as fit as they should be. Your ability to exercise is directly related to your ability to cognitively function. Endorphins are released during exercise that literally enhance your mood, enhance your personality, not to mention that you function on a higher level when you are doing routine exercises. That's something that you absolutely need to be doing. And typically, it's not that hard. There'll be people out there as you're looking around, people at your station, people on your truck say, hey, listen, I'm going to start doing this. Let's do this together. That's a great thing. Healthy eating habits. Yeah, right. So I can't count how many times I've eaten a meal in the right-hand seat of the ambulance between calls or at the hospital and literally traded seats so I could drive to the next call so the driver could eat. That is not a healthy eating habit. I understand that a lot of times we can't, we really can't help it on duty. However, there's a lot of times we can, and we definitely can help it when we're at home. Limit the amount of fast food. All those foods, you are what you eat. Don't eat fast and easy. How about that? So, all these foods that we eat are directly related to how we feel. There's things that you eat that make you miserable. Obviously, you try to avoid those. But what you don't understand is that happens when you're not just eating a healthy, balanced diet. Hobbies. Who has hobbies? I personally enjoy working on cars. I love it. I'm getting ready to build a shop, which I'm thrilled about. And I currently have, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 cars scattered throughout the 4-state area, hidden places because I don't have a shop. I love working on cars. I would do that all day, every day, and half the night if I had the mind to do it. But that's how I de-stress. That's how I relax. I like to get my hands on something, and I like to work through a problem. Everybody's got a hobby. I don't know what that might be. And when I say hobby, it needs to be a healthy hobby. It needs to be an activity. It can't be on your PlayStation all the time or your gaming console. You need to be out doing something. If it's walking, if it's going outside and reading. They just had a study released on the benefit of sunshine. And not that we don't all know that vitamin D is great, but it has other effects on the body. You need to have good hobbies. Support groups, friends, church, clubs, whatever that looks like for you. If it's church small groups or if it's friends. And honestly, I understand we have a lot of friends on duty. We have people that we hang out with that are at work. But you need to have friends outside your work circle because there's a point in time where you have to detach yourself from emergency services. It cannot be all-consuming. Clubs are something that you might be involved in. Personally, hot rod clubs, cruising clubs, things like that, whatever that might be. Counseling. If you haven't ever been to counseling, I'm just going to tell you you're missing out. I guarantee at some point in time you could have benefited from it. Just like you've gone to a routine check annually with your doctor to see how things are going, the same thing applies for your mental capacity. This could be informal groups, just talking around table. This could be formal sessions where you actually go in. There's some great counseling services in our area. It needs to be a part of your plan to stay healthy, because our goal is not to get you through your career. Our goal is not to have you have a full career. My goal, as I teach in academy and we talk about it at the fire service, my goal is for you to have a full and complete retirement. I want you to live full and healthy long past when you've left here and you're still healthy moving on, where you can see your grandkids and great grandkids. That's our goal. So there is no one correct answer. Everybody is different. But this is something we need to breach. We need to break the ice. We need to talk about this. All right, so the effectiveness of support programs. All right, so here's the same group. It was Jim's that conducted this survey right here. And this looked at suicide contemplations versus suicide attempts when there was absolutely no encouragement or support, or where there was peer support, peer management support, or there was a full counseling and engagement support session. And they were able to translate this down to, looking out for other is a great thing. That's peer support. That is a great thing. And that reduced it by 13%, right? As far as contemplations, and it reduced it by half by suicide attempts, which is huge. But when you get in management behind that, and I know the management that we're looking here at Newton County as we're sitting here, and METS and Joplin Fire and the agencies around here, you have management that you can reach out to. Obviously, everybody relates to every one person differently, and so there's that one manager you can talk to that you'd rather talk to than a different, and that's great. But use that and reach out, because they will help. Absolutely will help. And as you go down the list to somebody that has literally the support of peer and management, they're almost reducing that. It's not quite half, but still almost, almost half. Actually, 28 is half. I can do math. I can math as long as I'm not doing drug calculations, right? So that's the effectiveness and that's what we're looking for. We need to make a difference. We work all day, every day, in making a difference in everybody else's life. We need to work just as hard at making a difference in each other's life as we're on duty, and making a difference in our own life. So, again, this is the effectiveness of formal support. 47% said it was it was very helpful. That's the vast majority. As you look at, 63% said it was either very helpful or extremely helpful. So, these are things, these are directions we need to be going. These are things that we need to be looking at as agencies, as individuals, and as furthering our career. So, as I go through there, it's time. What's the time to do? It's time to realize that we cannot take care of ourselves. We cannot take care of others unless we take care of ourselves. And I talk to my wife about this a lot. My wife is a pediatric nurse, and she goes to work and she does this, that, and the other, and then she comes home and then she tries to do a million different other things, being, the perfect mom. And she's awesome. But until she can stop and actually take a minute and take care of herself, there's a point where that tips over, and we're not able to take care of the kids because we're doing everything else and this, that, and the other. It's time to balance some things. There's always something going on. There's always something to do, and there's always a great excuse. But until we realize that we cannot take care of others unless we take care of ourselves, we're not going to make any changes. That's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. There's a difference. You need to have time just for yourself to reset. We're not talking about being selfish. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the realization that if you're not healthy, you can't help keep other people healthy. It's time to ensure that we have a retirement. And I'm not talking about making it to retirement. I'm talking about enjoying retirement. I'm talking about enjoying the life after emergency services. I know things have changed through the years. 20 years ago, there was a larger pool of individuals that wanted to come into emergency services, and I get that. And so we worked very hard. We got this different certification and that licensure, and we applied at multiple agencies, and we did this, that, and the other, so we could get on our dream job or whatever that was. But we didn't really think about working that hard to make sure we enjoy our retirement. It's like, oh, we're here now. No, we haven't arrived. We're still working, and it's time that we ensure we have a good retirement. It's time to take care of each other as well as we take care of our patients. Looking out for each other, I'm not sure if you work with a specific individual a lot, or if you work with a different group of individuals on your different shifts at your different agencies. However, over time you start realizing what is different personalities, what's normal, what's not. Look out for each other. Hey, how's your kids? Hey, what's going on? Hey, do you need help with this? Get involved with each other's lives to a point that we can see when somebody needs assistance, when somebody needs, that to reach out, give them that helping hand. Because we just learned that, if we back up here, peer support by itself, it makes a huge difference as we look at this topic. All right, it's time to invest in the health and longevity of our personnel. And this is something I know that all of our agencies discuss and look for. I can personally speak as Joplin Fire. We are very vested in the health and longevity of our personnel. The true measure of success of an organization is literally measured by the success of the personnel of the organization. So as we're looking at this, we need to make sure that each other is successful. We need to be vested in, maybe you have an individual that's looking to promote. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to promote. Whatever that is, hey, how can I help you? Hey, mentorship, whatever that looks like, be vested in other people's success on the job. And we must be each other's champion for success. Instead of, I know there's a lot of ribbing and things that go on. If you've ever seen me on Facebook, there's plenty of it. If you've ever been on the local Facebook page, there's even more. But it's all in good humor. It's all in good fun. But in the end of the day, the guys that are making fun of something I've laminated or emailed out, it's an inside joke, I know that if I called and said, listen, I need help to get this done, they would say, absolutely, what do you need? How can I help you? And the reverse is true. They call me, hey, I need this, or I'm looking to do this. What can I do? We are vested in each other's success. And that is a huge thing, to champion each other, to look out for each other. That helps tremendously, as we saw from the previous chart. But just in the work environment itself, the environment that we work in is the environment we create. So if you are on duty and you're at work, there's things that you can't control. Obviously, things are going to happen, and you're going to be like, I can't believe this. It's kind of funny. As you're the guy rank and file, you're like, man, this is stupid. I can't believe they're doing it. As you're the administrator, you're thinking, I cannot believe that guy did that. It goes both directions. But the truth is that there's nobody that can control my outlook on life outside of myself. And when I'm at the point that I can actually deal with it, I need to deal with it. Because once you get past that point, once you get to a point where you literally need professional interventions, you can't do this. You lack the skill sets. It's physically impossible. It's mentally impossible, and you need help. Unfortunately, we have too many people that get to that position. We need to realize that early. We need to have the olive branch. We need to allow the discussions around the coffee table or around the dinner table, or in the ambulance in the long transfer back, or whatever that is, of whatever's bothering you, whatever's on your mind. You need to be able to air that and get rid of it, because as long as you're carrying it, that's one little spot in your head it's reserved for that. It's not reserved for whatever might be coming down the road in emergency services. So as we talk about this again, I want to break the ice. Everybody's got that call that we're like, man, for the longest time, and up until recently, and actually it kind of got me excited, because it's an odd thing to say. It got me excited, but I ran on a motor vehicle accident. It was a double fatality. There was a family of 3 in a small sedan, and it was hit by a little 2-door sports car. So middle of town, it's the road was much like a range line, 5 lanes wide. Typically not a lot of accidents, definitely not a lot of fatalities. However, in this case, the car hit driver's headlight to driver's headlight, and it caused one of the cars to become airborne, and the rear tire went through the rear glass, and it hit the little girl in the head. And for years, I could tell you what the little girl was wearing, the temperature. I could tell you she was blonde hair, blue eyed little girl in her car seat, looked perfect, and she was fatality. And I carried that with me for years. And I didn't realize I did until a point that we're at a family gathering, and my sister brings up the fact that she can't believe that somebody for her high school has been convicted of manslaughter. And during the conversation, I realized that it's the individual that caused the wreck. He was actually street racing and lost control of the car and killed this mom and this little girl. The little boy in the other side, we actually got back. He was a trauma code, and he actually made a full recovery, thank God. When I realized I had a problem is about the time my older brother was literally pulling me off my sister as I was taking swings. I had no idea what I was doing. I lost it. And, I mean, everybody has got that call they've carried. That's not okay. I didn't handle that right. I did not take care of that, and it was something that really took a toll on me. And I know that as we're sitting here and we're discussing it, I know everybody is like, oh yeah, I know that call. We've got to be able to develop mechanisms and coping mechanisms, and that's where counseling comes in, that we can talk about this. We need to offload some of the stuff that we're carrying around. It is literal mental cancer. It eats away at us. It deters our ability. It makes us ineffective in our job. It makes us calloused. It is not good. It takes its toll on our health. It shortens our life. It shortens our lifespan. It shortens, it increases the rate of suicide contemplation. It drastically increases the rate of divorce, bankruptcy. Mercy Services has one of the highest divorce rates in the nation. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. But again, this isn't all doom and gloom. It's time to stand up. It's time to look out for our people. It's time to say, okay, enough is enough. We're going to take care of ourselves so we can take care of you better. And whatever that looks like for you, however that looks, there's a lot of great resources out there. And absolutely at any point in time, you can contact me or with different, what agency you're with. I know you can reach out to Mr. Prosser or Mr. Powell, and they can send you my direction, or they can put you in touch with somebody. We're here for your success. We're here for your longevity. We are highly vested in your success because we know that your success equals the success of the agency, the success of the area as a whole. So I appreciate your time. I thank you guys for listening and all the great comments about how great the talk was. I really appreciate that. I see those streaming and constantly. I'm totally kidding. So that's what I have for you guys. I'm not sure where Mr. Prosser stepped out of the room. So we're going to be taking a lunch break. We're going to be back. Mr. Powell, is it going to be at 12:30? Yeah, we're going to go back broadcasting live at 12:30. We have another speaker lined up. So everybody get some lunch, a healthy lunch, a slight exercise as we've just talked. Read up on hand washing. I'm kidding, and we will see you guys back at 12:30.